All right, let's just jump right into it. We're about to challenge one of the most basic, fundamental truths you've ever learned. Something so core to how we think, it's the foundation of pretty much all logic and certainty.
What if I told you that in the real world, the messy world of human feelings, relationships, and society, 1 plus 1 doesn't always equal 2? According to the Wounded Healers Institute, clinging to that simple idea might actually be holding us back in a huge way.
And this is really the central idea we're exploring today. This notion that simple binary logic, where everything is either this or that, right or wrong, black or white, is actually a trap. A trap that keeps us from seeing the much deeper and honestly more interesting reality of our lives.
So let's really break down what this problem is all about. It starts with a way of thinking that feels so rational and safe, but is actually incredibly limiting when you try to apply it to real, messy, unpredictable human beings.
The core concept here is something called reductive rationality. It's basically our attempt to make everything neat and tidy. To treat our lives, our minds, our relationships like there's some kind of math equation where there's always one single correct answer. But as we all know, life is, it's almost never that simple.
I think this slide really clarifies things. Over on the left, you've got binary logic. And hey, it's fantastic for spreadsheets and laws, things that need to be absolute, certain, and controlled. But on the right, you've got what the source calls multiplicative consciousness. This is for the complicated stuff. Relationships, our own psyche, nature. And here, the outcome isn't certainty at all. It's complexity, it's ambiguity, it's life.
The writer David Foster Wallace just nailed this. He called this simple, self-centered view our hardwired default setting. It's that automatic voice in our head that just assumes that our little perspective is the whole truth. It's a really comforting and simple way to see things for sure, but it can also be a prison we build for ourselves.
Okay, so if 1 plus 1 is 2 is the trap, then what's the way out? Well, this is where it gets really cool. The source material offers this powerful alternative idea that completely reframes the whole equation. It's all about something called emergence.
So what is emergence? It's the idea that when you combine individual things, you don't just get the sum of what you started with. No, you get something totally new, something bigger, something that has qualities that the original parts just didn't have on their own.
Let's make this really concrete. So imagine one person. We'll call them person A. They're one whole thing, right? Now let's add another person to the mix, person B. So simple math would say we now have 2 people. But this is exactly where emergence shows us the lie in that old math, because one person plus another person doesn't just equal 2 people. It creates a third, invisible entity, the relationship itself. And this new system, it has its own rules, its own dynamic, its own energy. It's a living thing that is so much more than just 2 individuals.
And this applies to the really difficult stuff too. Take past trauma. That's our first one. Then add an addictive behavior that's being used to cope. That's our second one. The result isn't just 2 separate issues. What emerges is a powerful, self-sustaining cycle, a dissociative reenactment loop. It's a whole new and often debilitating psychological system.
So this begs a really big question. If this binary logic is so flawed for understanding life, why are our brains so obsessed with it? Why do we always default back to that simple math?
It's definitely not because we're bad at math. The real reason is much, much deeper, and it has everything to do with our psychological need to feel safe and in control, especially when we feel threatened. And here's the absolute heart of it. It's a defense mechanism. When the world feels chaotic, unpredictable, and scary, which is exactly how it feels for someone who's experienced trauma, the mind craves order. It's desperate for simple rules. And really, what's more certain than 1 plus 1 equals 2? It's like a psychological life raft.
This kind of black and white thinking is actually a symptom of dissociation. It's a way to detach from a reality that feels too overwhelming. It feeds a deep need for control by creating a sense of order, even if that order is just an illusion. And at the end of the day, it's not a rational choice. It's an emotional shield driven by deep and often unconscious fear.
The source material gives us a really powerful metaphor for this. This rigid mindset is like having an authoritarian parent living inside your head. It's constantly demanding strict rules and total obedience. This is right, that is wrong, all in the name of maintaining order, no matter how much emotional truth or complexity gets trampled in the process.
Okay, so we've seen the problem, we get the why behind it, so how do we actually start to put this new way of seeing into practice? How do we start to see the world differently?
Here's the key takeaway. We have to train ourselves to look beyond the individual pieces. Whether we're looking at our own relationships, our own habits, or even huge societal problems, we need to start asking, what's the new thing being created here? What's the unseen system that's really at play?
This table just lays it out so clearly. A mother and a father aren't just two people. Together, they create a family system. Trauma and a coping behavior aren't just two problems. They create an addictive loop. And on a massive scale, a society's fear of chaos plus a substance doesn't just create a drug problem, it creates a huge emergent system of control.
So, what does this all really mean for us? It means that escaping that binary trap takes something that can be pretty hard. It takes the emotional maturity to be okay with uncertainty, to tolerate ambiguity. It's about developing the flexibility to see the whole, complex, messy picture, not just the simple, easy-to-count pieces. It's really about upgrading our own default setting.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Just look around your own life, your relationships, your work, your community. What are the emergent systems, those unseen third things, that are really running the show? The answer? Well, it might just change how you see everything.